the most annoying part of being a seller, hands down. And to be a seller, you also have to be a buyer, right? So being a buyer, being a seller, being everything inside of this trading card market, the most annoying thing by far, in my experience, in my professional experience, are scammers and scams. What's up? My name's Nick. I run a company. We sold 6 figures of cards last year. It's good times, and I love talking about it, so you should subscribe. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about 4 stories. There's more. I'm going to talk about 4 stories where I got scammed. And let's do a preface, right? Let's talk about what it means when somebody gets scammed. People who get scammed are victims. It's true. But often, and this is certainly the case with me in some of these stories, as you will tell, often you're not just a victim of the scammer, but you're also a victim of your own stupidity. And so the moral of the story here, everyone, is to be vigilant. It's also yes, you can point your fingers and poke fun and say haha, you're an idiot. Comment below, haha, you're an idiot. Because in these stories, it's like somebody should have seen red flags or should have been smart about this or whatever. Some of these stories, I don't know how to get around it. It just is what it is. Mostly as a seller, right? If you're going to sell on the internet, and people are just going to scam you sometimes, and I don't know what you can do about that. But when you're a buyer, there's often a lot of clear, obvious signs that's like, okay, you should not be buying this. You should not be buying that. That is a scam. And so we're going to go through all those stories. But yes, you can point fingers and poke fun and say oh, yep, you're an idiot for being scammed, which is true. But also we want to remember that scamming is bad. And it's not just oh, they got you, haha. But it's also this is a bad thing. It makes the world a worse place. Actually, real quick economic side note tangent is that you have no idea. You might have some idea, but I'm just going to exaggerate. You have no idea how much value gets added to your life because you live in a society where people are relatively trustworthy. And by that, what I mean is there are many places in the world where you can live where to get your groceries, you have to go up to a gated wall and knock, and they open a latch, and you pay first, and then they hand you your groceries through a hole in the wall. And the reason they do that is because people steal. Too many people steal. And so what's the point? The point is that the fact that you can just walk into a Walmart or walk into whatever and just pick stuff up and put in your cart and go to self-checkout and check out and leave, that saves you time. And it actually does save you money because the company doesn't have to invest all this money into infrastructure to prevent theft. Right? The less money companies have to spend on trying to prevent theft, the lower their prices can be. Let's leave aside monopolies and whatever. In general, those savings get passed to the consumers, to the customers. So we are so blessed to live in a society where for the most part, people do trust each other. And that really lowers the cost of doing business, is if you can just trust people generally. And so on the other side of that, when you scam, when you lie, when you cheat, it's not just hurting the person. You are hurting the fabric of society in a way that's going to make things more expensive and lower quality for everybody, right? So, fun facts. All right, economic side rant over. Let's get into some of these stories. So first story is, I think, the first time that I kind of got scammed, and I was able to get my money back. I was not able to get my money back on all these, so stay tuned. But Modern Horizons 3. So this was about 2 years ago when Modern Horizons 3 was coming out. And I, like any good savvy buyer, was scouring the internet looking for good deals on Modern Horizons 3 collector booster boxes. And back then, I was the same dirty scalper I am now. And so I, of course, wanted to get a price that was good enough to flip. And I found it. I found an incredible price. Now, I think that boxes were retailing around this time for about 400. I might be like 100 off, but let's say I'm pretty sure it was 400. I don't think it was 300. I think that was too cheap. I'm pretty sure distribution costs were around 320 or 330 or something like that. And so it was but when I saw a box on this website for $240, I was like, whoa, That's pretty good. And I didn't know distribution cost was like 330 or whatever at the time. And it seemed plausible to me because like Murders of Carla Manor boxes were collector's boxes and they were, 200, 240 at release, whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, 240. That's like a reasonable price or what, yeah. Type in the comments below. You're an idiot. Yeah, exactly. So I bought one. And what's funny too is like, if I actually thought it was real, I should have bought more, but I don't know. I was just, I was like, I'll get one. So I get one. And I'm like, okay, great. And I had full faith. I had zero idea that this was not legitimate. The moral of the story here, by the way, is if the price is too good to be true, it is. That's the moral of the story. But continuing on with the story. So I buy this and I'm just chilling. But it's like a week later and then I'm like, I wonder what the progress is like because, it was like a pre-order, but I think the set was coming out. The set wasn't coming out for a few weeks, but I was like, oh, let me check on the status just to see what's up. I check on the status and it says delivered. It's been delivered. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. Uh-oh. And so I start digging into it. Then I reach out to the seller, which you can through email. And I was basically like, hey, what is going on? And this is when I started to get worried, right? And I was like, what is going on? You better not be scamming me. I don't know. I didn't try to be aggressive. Try to play it smart, right? Because if they have your money, like maybe you can be nice and they'll give you your money back. That's not how it works. But anyways, so then have to reach out to Shopify and my credit card. And I'm not sure if I got the money back from a chargeback or if Shopify got my money back. I know that Shopify closed down their store eventually. Like eventually when I went to their website, it was no longer a thing. But, it worked out. I did get my money back. It all worked out. Just a bunch of stress, a bunch of wasted time, money tied up, all preventable if just realizing that the price is too good to be true. If it's significantly lower than what everyone else is selling for, it's just too good to be true, especially for these collector booster boxes. It just seems like a prime target for internet stores. It is so easy to just set up a Shopify, take your money, especially under the pretext of pre-ordering, right? So they get this like month. I mean, if I hadn't checked the website, I would have just not known. And I would have been waiting weeks longer and they probably would have gotten my money scot-free, which maybe they did. I don't know who ate the cost. I don't know if they were able to get the money back from the scammer or if Shopify ate the cost. But anyways, all right, that's one of 4 stories. And we need to hurry this up. Okay, Facebook Marketplace. It's a wild world, guys. Be careful out there. Facebook Marketplace. If someone is going to ship you cards, you want them to pay, or you want to pay, or you want them to pay you with goods and services. PayPal goods and services. You can do it on PayPal by creating an invoice and sending it to them, or they can create an invoice and send it to you. And that's how you can pay goods and services. If you're paying friends and family, it's risky. And if someone's asking you to pay friends and family for something, then it's a scam. And that's what I experienced when somebody was selling copies of the One Ring for, at the time, I think market at the time was $60 and they're selling copies for like $40 or something like that. I was like, oh, this is a great deal. Once again, comment down below. Like I said, you could pile on, but there's stuff to learn here because once again, you see the price of the cards and you're like, whoa, that's too good to be true. I'm going to buy some. But yeah, the real tell should have been that when they're like, hey, pay friends and family, this PayPal account, whatever, that should have been the tell. It's a scam. And it was a scam. And they just got my money and they were gone. And there's probably other ways to check that they're scammers, like checking the age of their Facebook accounts, checking if they had references, referrals, if they had done previous transactions. But just be careful. Be careful on these Facebook groups. Like I said, goods and services. I know that some people, it's still very possible to get scammed through goods and services, but I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard. At least goods and services will protect the buyer more often. If you're a seller using goods and services, that's a little risky. I really just recommend selling to people people on the internet, Discord channels that you trust. Some of these kind of Patreon Discord channels or groups, there could be scammers in there, but I don't know. I guess if you just recognize somebody, right? If you see someone who's active in a Discord for years and then you're like, they're selling something, it's like, oh yeah, they're probably a real person. They're not playing this con for years just to get me to buy, a collector box at a decent price from them. Anyways, it's hard. It's so hard to navigate the internet. Okay, next story. Before One Piece was cool, I was into One Piece, and I was out of One Piece before One Piece got cool. Very quick stint. But at the time, I saw some boxes online, and they were shipping from Asia, and they were way cheap. They're like $80 when the market price was like $110 or something like that. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Inverted expected value. I'm going to buy these. I'm going to open them up for singles and sell some One Piece, baby. Buy 2 of them. This is on eBay. So I'm like, there's the buyer guarantee. Like, there's no way I can get scammed because eBay's got my back. Well, so a little similar to the Modern Horizons 3 booster box that I bought that was a scam. eBay, I don't know how they did this, but somehow they put in tracking information that had already been delivered that didn't notify me at all. So I wouldn't have known that it was delivered, except that I was checking my phone and saw like, wait, it says it was delivered, but I didn't get any of the normal eBay notifications. I'm not sure how they did that. And then, of course, it said it was delivered, but nothing was delivered. So I reach out to eBay. And I can't remember all the details, but essentially I'm like, hey, eBay, it says it was delivered, but nothing was delivered. This is a scam. I've already reached out to the buyer, and they refused to talk to me. And eBay defended the buyer. eBay said, oh, you should, try to get a good doorbell so that you can see when the post person brings by your mail next time. And I was like, I do have a camera, and I can show you that, no, this didn't happen. And they denied my request for a refund. And I eventually asked, I was like, if we find out they're a scammer a few weeks from now, is there any way I can get my money back? And they said no. And guess what? Their account got closed down. They were a scammer. I was not the only victim. And I just don't get my money back. And I hate that. I'm so upset with eBay to this day. And it's not a ton of money. It's only, like $160. But the way that eBay was just like up yours to me just sucks. It makes me so sad. And I hope that eBay makes it right for me someday. I'm still holding on to that. I'm still bitter about that, like $160. So sad. Anyways, okay. Last story. Which, by the way, that was once again price too good to be true. I was a fool for buying it, but trying stuff out. You live and you learn. So try not to live and learn like I've lived and learned. Try to live and learn other cooler ways that actually make you money. Great. Okay. Last one was recently, and I've mentioned this before, but I got chargebacked. I have a website where I sell stuff, links below, and you can buy stuff, and apparently people can just charge it back. And so somebody bought like $600 of stuff, charged it back. I am just out. I sent them the product. I shipped them a case of Commander decks and some boxes, and they just have it now. And they charge back, and Spotify is going to try to protest the chargeback, but like, I don't think sellers win those. I think just like it's always defaults on buyer protection. And so hosed, just get hosed. And that's a warning about, selling stuff on your own platform, is that kind of thing can just happen. So I'm not really sure what to make of that or what to do with that. If you've, because I listen to other sellers who have their own websites, mostly with Pokemon, and they just talk about how it's like, yeah, there's scams and stuff, but it works out over time. Great. I guess that makes me feel better. So anyways, crazy stuff though. Most annoying part. I love selling Magic. I love buying Magic. I love all the cool, interesting parts of this hobby, but wow, scams suck. So annoying. So anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know any pro tips, tricks, and of course, let me know if I'm an idiot below. Have a great day and subscribe. Yep.